welcome in everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today. Hope you guys are doing well. So, today we're going to take a look at the best stock in the world, and that is Meta stock. So, the company Meta Platforms Inc. reported its quarter two 2025 earnings yesterday. So, in this video, we're going to do three different things. So, number one, we're going to take a look at some news about the earnings report. Number two, we're going to take a look at the stock chart for Meta. And number three, we're going to take a look at some price targets for the stock, where I will also be sharing my personal price target and just overall opinion about the stock. So, we got some good stuff to take a look at today. Before we do jump into that, I would like to mention that on my YouTube channel, I create content about money, sports, and personal topics with the goal of bringing value to other people's lives. So if you guys find value in this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. All right, let's go ahead and check out Meta stock. All right, let's see what Meta stock is up to today. So the stock market is closed right now. The stock was trading at $773.44. It was up $78 today, which was an increase of over 11%, and it was up as much as 12% earlier in the day. So it looks like Meta is having an amazing day today, and that tells us that they had a very good earnings report. So next, let's see if we can find some news about the earnings report. All right, we'll take a look at this one first. Meta shares climbed 10% on revenue beat, raised forecast. The key points: shares of the social media company jumped more than 10% after the company reported second quarter earnings on Wednesday that beat on revenue. Meta said third quarter sales will come in a range between $47.5 and $50.5 billion, which is ahead of Wall Street estimates of $46.14 billion. And the company said capital expenditures will come in between 66 and 72 billion, raising the low end of the company's previous estimate of between 64 billion and 72 billion dollars. All right, so very good news off the top here. So they beat on revenue and on earnings per share. Also, their guidance for the next quarter, they increased their sales forecasts. So that's very good to see. And then as far as their capital expenditures, they narrowed the range for those two numbers, which makes it more predictable and which investors like. So we see Mark Zuckerberg here. All right, the specific numbers: earnings per share came in at $7.14 versus $5.92 expected. Revenue came in at 47.52 billion versus 44.8 billion expected. So those are very significant beats. I mean, earnings per share, they beat by over $1, and on revenue, they beat by over $2 billion. So those are significant beats on both the bottom line and top line. So that's very good for Meta investors. Second quarter sales increased 22% year over year. So daily active people for Meta's family of apps grew to 3.48 billion in the second quarter, ahead of analyst estimates of 3.45 billion. And that's up from 3.43 billion in the previous quarter. So one metric that analysts and investors were worried about with Meta was their daily daily active users, but even that metric has been increasing in these recent quarters as well. So very impressive on that end as well. All right, so Mark Zuckerberg provided an outline for his vision of personal superintelligence in the earnings call. So the social media company said its total expenses for 2025 will fall in the range between 114 and 118 billion dollars, which raises the low end of its prior outlook of between 113 billion and 118 billion. So the expenditures are pretty much in line, slight adjustment there. Meta's net income in the second quarter rose 36% year over year. All right, very, very good news so far. Let's take a look at another article. Meta Platforms jumps pre market as ad revenue surges and AI bets gain momentum. The company posted a 22% year over year revenue increase. Meta's suite of services, including Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, also saw an increase in daily active users across its family of apps. Looking ahead, Meta expects third quarter revenue to grow between 17 and 24%. It just mentions Mark Zuckerberg continues to position AI as a critical engine for Meta's future. Bottom line, the Meta report is extremely robust, and the only negative takeaway is the warning management issues about 2026 costs. Let's take a look at the next article. Meta stock rockets on results. What was that? Wow. So, an analyst said that Meta destroyed expectations with perhaps one of the biggest prints in their history. Meta's ad business keeps rolling. Bullishness hits new highs, and Meta stock is up 19% this year. All right, let's see if Gemini has any additional news for us. Hey, Gemini, can you give me a summary of Meta's second quarter 2025 earnings results? Meta Platforms Inc. reported very strong financial results for the second quarter of 2025. So we pretty much mentioned all of these numbers. Operating margin, the company's operating margin improved to 43%, up from 38% in Q2 2024. AI investments, Meta continues to make massive investments in AI development, infrastructure, and hiring top talent. User growth, we already kind of mentioned this, but it mentions daily active users grew to 3.48 billion, a 6% year over year increase. CEO Mark Zuckerberg reiterated the company's focus on developing personal super intelligence for its users. All right. So let's just take a look at some charts here. So let's take a look at the quarterly revenue chart for Meta. This is for the last 5 years. So you can see very solid and steady growth in quarterly revenue for the last 5 years. Let's do the same for earnings per share. So earnings per share has been growing steadily as well over the last 5 years. So that's good to see. Let's look at a little longer. So this is revenue over the last 10 years for Meta. So you can just see this consistent growth that the company has been on as far as revenue over the last 10 years. And, I don't see this changing anytime in the future. So my expectation is that this trend is just going to continue. So this is earnings per share over the last 10 years for Meta. You can see this nice looking chart as well, just growth over the last 10 years. Some dips here and there, but it's not going to look perfect. So this is very impressive as well. So now we're going to take a look at the all-time chart for quarterly revenue for Meta. So it's this one right here. So we can just see the one in the middle that says quarterly. So you can just see just how much the company has grown as far as revenue over all this time frame. I mean, you're not going to get a better looking revenue chart than this. So, and my expectation is that this growth trend is just going to continue um, over the next 5, 10, 25 years. So let's take a look at earnings per share quarterly all time. So you can see as well, at the beginning, they didn't have very high earnings per share, but then just steady growth every quarter with some dips here and there, just due to like different expenses that they incurred. But this is a very, very impressive looking earnings per share chart. And the trend should just continue going forward. So, very impressive looking revenue charts and EPS charts for Meta. All right, so next we're going to take a look at the chart for Meta stock. All right, so like we mentioned earlier, Meta stock closed at $773.44, up $78 or up over 11% today. It was up as much as in the 780s. It reached 784 earlier today, was up 12% today. So incredible one day for Meta, and it just kind of stayed pretty steady. So let's take a look at the 5-day chart. So we can see the stock yesterday was around $700 and it closed just under $700. And then the earnings report comes out and the stock jumps from $700 up to 780s. So significant jump happened yesterday after hours. So very impressive there. Let's see the 1-month chart. So the stock was pretty much steady in the low 700s over the last month. and now we're in the high 700s. So that's what a good earnings report will do to a stock. So love to see that happen. Over 3 months, the stock is up 35%, over $200. So if you bought the stock in April, you're a very happy investor right now. Year to date, the stock is up 32%. Over 1 year, the stock is up over 62%. It was under $500. Consistent growth here. We had the dip in April due to the tariffs, but if you bought the stock in April, you realized all, or you experienced all this rise in the stock since then. Now we're in the high 700s, so very impressive. This is the 3 year chart. The stock is up 386% over 3 years. It's up over $600 over 3 years. So in 2022, we had kind of a recessionary year with the inflation. So the stock was in the 100s and it even went below $100. So just imagine if you bought it in 2022. Since then, the stock just continuously went up 100s, 200s, 300s, 4, 5, 6, and now we're in the high 700s. And the trend should continue into the 800s, 900s, and higher. So this is probably the best looking 3 year chart that you're going to see of any stock. That's kind of why I think this is the best stock in the world. So incredible growth over 3 years. 5 year chart, the stock is up 200%, over $500. And max, the stock is up over 2,500%. The stock was around $18, $20 back in 2012. And look at all this growth that the stock has had since then. So this stock is really incredible. I think it's the best stock out there, and I haven't found a better one than Meta. So a very consistent looking growth chart for all the time frames. Anytime the stock went down, like even like I mentioned in 2022, where it was a recessionary year, if you bought it and then any of these dips, look at all this growth that the stock has had. So very impressive history for the stock chart, and I think the trend is just going to continue. All right, so next we're going to take a look at some price targets for the stock. All right, so as far as price targets, we'll take a look here first. So here on the right-hand side, analyst recommendation is a strong buy, and that's based on 68 analysts, and that's as of today. Out of those 68 analysts, 49 of them have a strong buy, 11 have a buy, 7 have a hold, and 1 has a sell rating. 12-month price target is $812.21. And right now the stock is at 773. So that's about another $30 increase from the current price. So these analysts, for the most part, are bullish on the stock and expect it to go into the 800s going forward. Let's take a look at some more price targets. Piper Sandler issues positive forecast for Meta Platforms stock price. Meta Platform had its price target raised by research analysts at Piper Sandler from 808 to 880. So that's about another $100 increase from current levels. A number of other analysts have also recently weighed in on the company. Sanford Bernstein boosted their price target on Meta from 775 to 900. Cantor Fitzgerald increased their price target from 828 to 920. Robert W. Baird raised their price target from 635 to 740. All right. Meta Platforms stock price expected to rise, Key Corp analyst says. Key Corp raised its price target for Meta Platforms from 800 to 905. A number of other analysts have also weighed in on Meta. Cantor Fitzgerald increased their price target from 807 to 828. Bank of America raised their price target from 775 to 900. Another analyst raised it from 780 to 860. Benchmark boosted their price target on shares of Meta Platforms from 640 to 800. All right. Citigroup issues positive forecast for Meta Platforms. So Citigroup raised their price target to 915 from 803. Meta Platforms price target raised to 835 from 740 at Roth Capital. Meta Platforms price target raised to 900 from 750 at Citizens JMP. All right, so all the analysts, for the most part, are bullish on the stock, and they have their price targets in the $800, $900 range. So they expect the stock to continue to go up another $100 or so. Let's run through these price targets as well. And these are all as of today, so these are new. So we can see these analysts 750 to 920, 650 to 825, 675 to 685, 610 to 900, 740 to 840, 783 to 811, 845 to 900, 750 to 900, 750 to 900, 800 to 890, 800 to 875, 800 to 905, 808 to 880, and so on and so on. So all these analysts have increased their price targets for the stock. So let's just check in with Gemini to see if Gemini has any last ones for us. Hey Gemini, what are the most recent price targets for Meta stock? All right. Price target range, high estimate 920 to 1086, low estimate 530 to 664. So it looks like the highest price target so far is by Rosenblatt, and they raised their price target to 1086 from 918, maintaining a buy rating. All right. All right. So next, we'll just kind of summarize everything, and I will give my price target and opinion about the stock. All right, guys, let's summarize what we took a look at today. So we took a look at Meta stock. The company Meta Platforms Inc. reported Q2 earnings results yesterday. They had amazing results. They beat on the top line on revenue, on the bottom line on earnings per share and by significant amounts. We looked at some news about that. Number two, we took a look at the stock chart for Meta. We just saw how much it was up in one day, over 12%. And for all the different time frames, just how much the stock has gone up. Number three, we took a look at price targets from analysts, and pretty much all the analysts increased their price target for the stock into the 800s and 900s for the next 12 months. So they're all bullish on the stock. All right, so just my opinion about the stock. I personally believe that this is the best stock that's out there. It's gone up so much, like all these years, and ever since the stock went public. We saw the earnings and revenue charts and how much they have gone up each quarter. I expect that trend just to continue. So I'm very, very bullish on the stock. Again, I think it's the best stock to own in the world. And as far as my price target, 12 months from now, I mean, I expect the stock to be $900 to $1,000 12 months from now. I think that's very reasonable. And I think the company is just going to continue to deliver results. And they pretty much, every quarter that they report, they have a earnings beat and the stock seems to go up. So that should just continue. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. That's kind of how I look at Meta stocks. So I think the company is just going to continue to grow. The stock is going to continue to grow, and we'll be cheering the company on for sure. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover for today. Again, if you found value in this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.